You can try to identify various people in the photos as you see them. We'll start in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Check, check.
begin with a short invocation. We request you to remain seated during the invocation. Photo Mamavatu Shri Saraswati. Mamavatu Shri Saraswati. Mamavatu Shri Saraswati. Kamakoti Pita Nivasini. Mamavatu Shri Saraswati. Kamakoti Pita Nivasini. Mamavatu Shri Saraswati. Komalakara saroja dhrita veena. Komalakara saroja dhrita veena. Komalakara saroja dhrita veena. Simadita varava vibhushana. Simadita varava vibhushana. Mamavatu Shri Saraswati. Rajadhiraja Pujita Charana. Rajivanayana Ramaniya Vadana. Rajadhiraja Pujita Charana. Rajivanayana Ramaniya Vadana. Sujana Manoratha Purana Chatura Nijagala Shobhita Manimaya Hara. Sujana Manoratha Purana Chatura Nijagala Shobhita Manimaya Hara. Aja Bhava Vandita Vasudeva Charanachita Sakala Veda Sarama. Mamavatu Shri Saraswati. Sujana Manoratha Purana Chatura Nijagala Shobhita Manimaya Hara. Aja Bhava Vandita Vasudeva Charanachita Sakala Veda Sarama. Mamavatu Shri Saraswati. Kamakoti Pita Nivasini. Mamavatu Shri Saraswati. Once again, namaskarams and welcome to all of you. I request our guest of honor to take his phone calls outside. Request all of you to keep your phone on silent and step out if you have to take a call. Okay, so I'm Prabha, in case there's anyone here who does not recognize me or know me. Very happy that all of you could make it to this very special occasion for us. We thought we would kick off the proceedings with a short video, and the reason for this is as follows, because so this year 26th January was very special because the eve of 26th January is when the Padma Awards are announced, and we got to know on the afternoon of 25th, I think, that he was to be one of the recipients of the Padma Awards this year. And of course, there was a lot of excitement, a lot of phone calls. So I have a 9-year-old who's hyperactive, as you can see. And he was very curious about what all the hullabaloo was about. And then we told him that there are these Padma Awards and so on. And the next day, there are photos that appear in the newspaper. But you see, he sees photos of people like R. Ashwin. And of course, he understands why R. Ashwin should be awarded a Padma Shri. But why is MD Tata, as he calls him, also appearing alongside R. Ashwin? R. Ashwin, of course, is a great spinner. So what does MD Tata do, or what has he done? Now, this, as many of you know, is a very difficult question to answer. He has done quite a few things, or a variety of things maybe, diverse things. I think one of the words I used in a previous meeting was polymath, because he does have expertise in a few different fields of study, and we thought a good way to showcase this is with the recent video that was made by the visual communication students at MOP Vaishnav College, and we thought it captured the essence of many things that he's involved with or that he has done. So we will start off by playing that video first.
In the quiet rhythms of Chennai, where temple bells echo above the hum of modernity, resides a mind that moves effortlessly between. In the quiet rhythms of Chennai. In the quiet rhythms of Chennai, where temple bells echo above the hum of modernity, resides a mind that moves effortlessly between the mysteries of the quantum world and the wisdom of ancient Shastras. A physicist by training, a historian by passion, and a philosopher by conviction, Professor M.D.
Professor Ramasubramanian led the painstaking work of editing, translating, and explaining these texts not as museum pieces but as living intellectual achievements. His vision expanded further in 1990 with the founding of the Center for Policy Studies or CPS alongside Dr. J.K. Bajaj and others. More than a think tank, CPS became a crucible for civilizational renewal. Under Srinivas's leadership, the center has worked to provide a lucid and rigorous statement of how India has functioned in various fields of human endeavor before the arrival of British on our soil. Srinivas has also championed the integration of Indian knowledge systems or IKS into mainstream education, not as tokenistic folklore but as rigorous structured disciplines. His efforts bore fruit in the University Grants Commission guidelines mandating IKS in higher education, a watershed movement in India's intellectual self-reclamation. He and Bajaj have recently proposed a national modification of the Dewey Decimal Classification, reorganizing library knowledge around India's own taxonomy where Vedanga Jyotisha sits with astronomy, not under religion. His work on the Banat Survey, a remarkable 18th century British documentation of over 2,000 villages in Chengalpet, unearthed a model of decentralized, locality-centered governance rooted in the collective public functioning in harmony with nature. Dr. Bajaj and Professor Srinivas have recently published detailed monographs on two vibrant self-governing localities of 18th century Tamil Nadu, Kundratur and Ullavur, offering a rare window into the social, economic and cultural life of pre-colonial Indian communities. M.D. Srinivas has authored books and research articles spanning theoretical physics, Indian scientific heritage, traditional knowledge systems, agriculture, and socio-political thought, often in collaboration with scholars such as Dr. Bajaj and K. Ramasubramanian. Since 2006, Professor Srinivas has served as the Chairman, Board of Governors of MOP Vaishnav College for Women, Chennai, a leading institution dedicated to excellence in higher education for women. Under his guidance, the college has strengthened its academic vision, blending rigorous scholarship with a commitment to ethical and cultural values. In 2023, he was elected Fellow of the Indian National Science Academy, not for physics alone, but for history and philosophy of science, a rare honor. And in 2025, the nation honored Professor M.D. Srinivas with the Padma Shri for his quiet, relentless dedication to India's intellectual sovereignty. Though Professor Srinivas shuns publicity, his influence is widely acknowledged among scholars, educators, and institutions committed to Indic studies and knowledge revival. He has mentored a generation of researchers, delivered seminal lectures at universities and think tanks, and contributed to foundational texts that are reshaping how India's intellectual history is taught and understood. Ammaji Mandir, Ayodhya, established in 1904 by Yogi Parthasarathi Swami and Yogi Singamma, the temple was renovated and underwent some prokshanam in 2022. Professor Srinivas and Professor M.A. Venkatakrishnan serve as the Secretary and Joint Secretary respectively of the Ammaji Mandir, Ayodhya, which has been associated with great spiritual leaders including the Yadugiri Yathiraja Swami. M.D. Srinivas shares his life with his wife, Mrs. Vijay Lakshmi, and together they've nurtured a family of scholars. Two accomplished daughters, Dr. Nityashri and Dr. Prabhamanyam, and a bright young grandson, Shrikar, carrying forward their legacy of learning and values. In rekindling India's intellectual flame, Professor Srinivas has not merely revived the past, he has illuminated a path forward.
Indeed, a huge thanks to the students of MOP Vaishnav College for Women for painstakingly putting together all these visuals and the text and that goes along with it. So yes, indeed, he has worn many hats. Started off as a theoretical physicist, morphed into a historian of science, further morphed into a sociologist, anthropologist, economic historian. I don't know how to even sort of sort this. But today we are happy to have with us people who have traversed these many different journeys with him. And we thought we will make this day memorable. So today, of course, is his 75th birth star, the Janma Nakshatram. And so we thought it would be nice to celebrate this with all the people that have traversed this journey with him and share a few reminiscences and memories, maybe some embarrassing anecdotes of the last 70 years, maybe 75 is too much, but 70 years. To begin with, actually, I would like to call someone who has been his partner in crime, so to speak, for the last 40 years or more. Professor Jitendra Kumar Bajaj, who my father knew from his days at the Theoretical Physics Department at Madras University, which coincidentally turned out to be a crucial location for many people to meet and many ideas to fructify. And together they have embarked on this journey for the last 40 years. So I invite Dr. Bajaj to share with us the origins and genesis of the Center for Policy Studies. I must mention that Dr. Bajaj is himself a Padma Shri Awardee. So we are happy to have with him here today.
I should begin by thanking these two young bright daughters of MD Srinivas for organizing this event. As you have just seen, MD Srinivas has done many things in many fields, and because they have organized this event, I can see many people who have come in contact with him in different phases. I just met his colleagues from Bangalore, the Central College, when he began his physics career. There are perhaps none from Rochester, but there are people, there's this, where he became a physicist. And there is Professor Sitaraman, Professor Vasan, Professor Shekhar Raghavan, Professor Shri, and me. I think that is the whole of the gang of theoretical physics, where I was an honorary member of that gang, but we worked together for 3-4 years. And then we have the PPST people. We have Girija. I just saw Krishnan coming in. Ashok will come at some point. Maybe Bhavani will be there. So this was a small gang, but this was an important phase of what we were doing. And then, of course, there are the relatives and friends and cousins of MD Srinivas. It's rarely that you get together so many people from so many different walks of life. Such events should be organized, because in life we come across many people, but we forget, and it's only occasionally on occasions like this we come together. It's a good occasion, it's a rare occasion to be doing this. I don't think I need to say much about MD Srinivas or his work. This MOP people, if they are here, they need to be congratulated. They have done a very, very competent job of this that brief video that they've made. It covers all aspects of his work. And of course, there are these books here. They cover most aspects of what he has been doing. As Prabhat said, he is a polymath, and we don't make polymaths anymore. This was the 19th century tradition when people used to be able to cover many fields. But MD Srinivas, if something defines him, is that he is a scholar. In fact, you can ask him about any subject, he'll not give you just the newspaper view of it. He'll be able to tell you serious details of that subject. I am lucky that when I did my physics PhD in 78, I happened to move to Madras. I don't know why I went to Madras. Today somebody was asking me, why did you come to Madras? There's no good reason for such things. Because I was not coming to do a job here. I was going to do a postdoctoral here. And it's very unusual, but it happened. But it was one of the best things that happened. And among the things that happened, of course, Sitaraman and Vasan and Shekhar, all of them were great people to spend time with. But working with MD Srinivas, we could move into different directions. So Ashok is also another member of the PPSD gang that I mentioned, and Bhavani, I was just mentioning you, Ashok and Bhavani. So let me briefly, since Prabha is insisting, briefly say what is this journey about. When we were together in 78 in the Department of Theoretical Physics, we asked this crazy question to ourselves, that what is this physics that we are doing? Where has it originated from? And what has it got to do with the life that we live here in India? And isn't there a way of doing science which will be more part of our tradition of being Indian and also make sense to our people here? And that was the beginning of PPSD. We went on for several years, perhaps maybe 10. We started taking out a bulletin, maybe 10 bulletins would have been written. And then at some point, I and MD thought that the question is not relevant only to science. The question is relevant to almost everything in life that we are doing. The way we are burning ourselves, the way we are running our families, the way we are running our social institutions. And then we thought maybe we should make an effort to understand what was India, what were the different diverse institutions of India before the British came and reordered the way we see them today. And that was the beginning of Center for Policy Studies. We are lucky. I think we had enough support. We had people, scholars with whom we could understand something. Dharampalji was there. There were many others from whom we learned much. And I think at the end of it, we do understand what defined India before the British. What is the India that we have left behind? And perhaps we should search for again. And much of this work we have done is about that and tells you something about what it is, what India was and what we should be looking for in the future. That's all. Have I missed something, Prabha? Okay. But this as we have said, MD is a polymath. He wouldn't be satisfied by writing just this. He has also done, if you look at those books, a series of books on Indian mathematics. He has actually mentored many people in what we today call Indian knowledge. So he is known in very diverse groups, unlike me, who have concentrated on some one thing. But I think what is most interesting is when we started, I think it was Sitaraman who said once that he was very worried when we both decided to divert from what was in hand. We were both reasonably good physicists. MD was a very good physicist, and started doing various things. We are lucky that we have done the work which we believe satisfies us, and we are even luckier that this work has been recognized, as being acknowledged. It doesn't normally happen, and we never felt that that's the kind of recognition will come to the center. It's a very happy occasion that MD Srinivas has been endowed with this. This Padma Shri used to be a very big thing. And now that MD has got, and sometime it was awarded to me, it looks ordinary, but it's a fairly high honor that the nation bestows on few people. And so we must congratulate MD, and we must congratulate his daughters, his wife, Viji. Viji was the real partner in crime. She was, they were doing physics together, and they left physics together. So if there's a partner in crime, the rest of us are a gang. And I forgot to mention Varadarajan, who has been part of the CPS effort of ours. I think I should stop here, huh, Prabha? You want me to say something more? I'll continue. Okay.
Thank you so much, Uncle. Actually, he has made this trip just for a day to Chennai so that he can be with us today. He has family constraints that he's attending to, so I'm very happy that he and Anjaneya could make it today. So we will talk more about both the PPST and the Center for Policy Studies as the evening progresses. But I thought maybe we should go back to the 1960s and National High School in Bangalore. There seems to have been something about the air there, because I see at least two students, fellow students of my father, Professor Guru Rao, who retired recently as faculty at Indian Institute of Science, and Professor Shri, who has of course been with the Madras University Theoretical Physics Department. So clearly National High School Bangalore gave rise to a few different scientists of reasonably good caliber. We have both of them with us today. Can I request Professor Guru Rao to maybe share a few reminiscences of their high school and college days, and of course they have been in touch constantly, which is amazing to see. In fact, the entire Bangalore gang is here today, and I'm told Professor Guru Rao will be the spokesperson on their behalf. So please.
Well, it's an occasion where we should all cherish the old times, and particularly when Prabha sent a message this morning. I was on the road driving from Bangalore to Chennai. I didn't immediately see the gist of what she sent until, very interestingly, when we entered Sri Parambadur, I saw this Ramanujam's birthplace and so on. Suddenly it occurred to me, well, the MD is an Iyengar, and then Prabha is also an Iyengar, so let me look at what message she has sent. And when I looked at it, I find that she is asking me to say a few things. And I thought this is a wonderful occasion, and I thank her for this invitation. Well, let me take you back to those days where we were small kids. And I must say that I know MD Srinivas much earlier than you, Vijayalakshmi. And therefore I can say a few things which you may be surprised to know. One of the things which I know about MD high school days, Shriram is here. So myself, Shriram and MD were in National High School. They were in a different section. He did the Sanskrit studies, whereas I took Kannada, so we were in different sections. But I knew about this guy who is far and above the others. You know, this has been the case from day one. I know about MD. He is someone who is far and above the rest of the students. And that intrigued me. In fact, I was wondering what is this far and above? I didn't even know what is far and above because I thought I was far below. And so when I did this analysis, I found that I looked at his marks sheet. Somebody showed me what marks he has got. And it was all very close to 100. Some of them were almost 100. And in fact, one or two were all 100. And then I realized, okay, this is something which is very unique. In our school days, when we had teachers who were actually telling us that we must get 100 out of 100 in 10th, there was only one possibility that MD Srinivas could be the person. And that's how it all started in the high school days. And then we went into college. We all went to National College for 1 year pre-university, and then moved to this Central College to do BSc Honors. And those days we became more close for various reasons. And it will be embarrassing for MD to say that I say a few things, but it is interesting. Since Prabha mentioned, say a few embarrassing things, I will say that. One of the things which was very specific for MD was his bicycle. Shriram, you remember his bicycle, and in fact I have several others from Bangalore. I have Ravichandran, who was our batchmate, and then I have Sheshadri, who is also our batchmate. And it so happened that he had a very unique bicycle. Nobody went near that bicycle. It was so very clean. You know what I mean? It was so very dirty. Okay, so nobody went near that. And he had a bag. And that bag will hang on the bicycle. And he will bring the bicycle, dump it in the front of what we call now as P1, the classroom. And nobody even went near it or touched it. And it so happened that bag was used by him for various purposes. He used it as a napkin, he used it as a towel, he used it to clean the cycle, and he also put books inside that bag. And I'm sure he read them, but then that's how it was. The college days were wonderful. One of the things which I also noticed during that period is his fond for food. He used to like a lot of variety of things, particularly basundi, if I remember right, and I'm sure my colleagues will agree that basundi was his choice. The moment we go to any restaurant, which was quite often we did because the teachers were so bad we were not interested in listening to them. So we went to these hotels and we found that the first choice which MD will give is basundi. So we all got used to eating basundi over the years. And that is something which I thought I will recall. So these are some of the things which bring back the days of memory which we went through. I mean, we were quite normal in the sense that all of us were normal. But this guy is something, you know, I always thought, okay, let me say a few things about him, but he's so simple, it is very difficult to say things about him. He is probably the simplest human being I've ever met in my life. Because he is so adjusting. So he will come to my level, he will go to some other level, and then he will go to some other person's article, and he will put all of them together in such a perspective that it was very hard for us to conceive. He had it in the mind, he was able to practice it, and probably he's the only person who has this polyman character, which is indeed a phenomenon. So I still think M.D. Srinivas is a phenomenon which cannot be easily explained. He is someone who actually inspired many of us to study more seriously. And that was also interesting because we had a group of people. There was one Shivashankar, who is no more one of our close friends. And then we had a group of people. And some pictures which was shown earlier had this person also along with us. We used to do what is known as a combined study. And most of the study will be done by MD and we will all combine. So it was such that the combined study has a big advantage. We used to go from one house to the other. We go to MD's house, his mother will make dosa, and the combined study will be culminated by eating dosas. We go to Shivashankar's house, his mother will make something. Then we come to our house, my mother will make something. So effectively, this combined study was basically to eat food. And at the same time, he was the only one who studied, and then we picked up. It is like, if you wear a malligepu, that smell of malligepu spreads around your head. So it's something like that. We learned something from him all along. So this is how it was in those days. We were very simple. We had no other ambition. His bicycle, going to eat food, and then study. The studies were very, very critical, and it so happened that he was always far and above the rest of the crowd in the class. Then after that, we went to the MSc days where we had to make choices, and then he took nuclear physics as his choice, and at that particular time, he was very interested in fundamental particles and so on, so the foundations of physics were already in his mind. I took to solid state physics, and I kept the practice of solid state physics until today. And he continued with the foundations of physics, and I was very proud. I was so proud that we both were selected by IISc during the interviews. We both were interviewed one after the other, almost at 9 o'clock in the night, and it so happened that both were selected. And it so happened that M.D. Srinivas joined the theoretical physics group in IISc. And those were the days. He joined IISc, I joined IISc, so we started drinking coffee together and going and eating dosa at that wonderful canteen we had. And at the same time, the professor of physics, there was one professor, K.P. Sinha, he gave him a set of 5 or 6 books and said, you go read this and see me after you finish reading all this. You know what MD did? He went back to him the next day and told him, I've already read all these books, so give me some more books to read. Somehow it was interpreted as though he was a little bit headstrong or something like that. And MD did not like to continue in that kind of atmosphere anymore. And luckily for him and luckily for the world, I think, he got selected at the University of Rochester. So he moved to Rochester, and then later on we continued our interactions over various occasions until, of course, his marriage. His dad did consult me about this marriage because it was very special, and Vijay Lakshmi knows about the speciality of this marriage. So, and then at that particular time, things moved so fast that I went into chemistry from physics, and then I stayed in chemistry until I retired. But then MD diversified, and he went into different kinds of areas. And he reached the peak in every area. You touch the foundations of physics, he's at the top of this one. As Professor Bajaj mentioned, he reached the top in finding history of science, talking about it, writing about philosophy of science, and so on. And then in mathematics, again, another peak. I can't count the number of peaks he has reached. I think it is unsurmountable, as I must say. I told you he's also a phenomenon. He's not a simple human being. And then, of course, we had close interactions with his children and my children, all moving into different parts of the world. At least Prabha is back, but this other girl is still sticking along with my daughters who are also in the US. And it all culminated in a set of close association. And some of us are so closely knit that the moment MD decides to come to Bangalore, he will send a message. And the message circulates among the crowd in Bangalore. It goes to Ravi, it goes to Sheshadri, who is in Arsikare, and then two others who are, unfortunately, they are now in the US, otherwise they will also be here. So this group then collects together, and we will, first thing we decide is to go and eat somewhere, some breakfast, maybe basundi or dosa or something like that, and then discuss various things. And everywhere you see that knowledge which has been assimilated in this head, he is a parallel processing human being. All of us are single process people, but he has a parallel process built into him. And that parallel processing is the one which makes him reach all these peaks. And I can go on and on and on. I mean, I don't want to take too much time. I think I've already taken too much time, right, Prabha? So I think I better stop here and congratulate him on his 75th birthday, and congratulate Vijayalakshmi for all the help she has always rendered to him and been with him so that he can reach here. Otherwise, it's very difficult. The role that is played by the wife is also equally critical. And I especially congratulate Vijayalakshmi on this one. And of course, we all celebrated and we continue to celebrate the entire 2025 as the year of MD, where he has been selected as for the Padma Shri. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Uncle, for sharing those wonderful memories of National High School days and beyond. Food, as you can see, it has been a constant throughout a lot of the memories that will be spoken of today. And I must mention that dinner is already ready, and in about 10 minutes, so since we will have a few sort of short speeches going on, it's a buffet sort of setup, and this is an informal gathering, so people are welcome to start sampling some of the food. In about 10 minutes, they should be ready to serve. Can I request now another alumnus of National High School, Professor Shri, to please share a few thoughts and memories.
As well as the conferment of Padma Shri on him. Well, I am not much of a public speaker, so please bear with me. MD Srinivas is a quintessential scholar and thinker, and already many of the aspects of his work have been covered by Bajaj, and in the excellent documentary produced by this MOP Vaishnav College students, and some aspects of his life have been covered by Guru Rao also. I will just say a few words. He is a quintessential scholar and thinker, and as pointed out by many, his work was, the post-physics days in mainly two areas. One is the study of the pre-British polity of India in all its aspects: education, income distribution, agricultural yield, education pattern, and how the regions used to be administered in a decentralized fashion. I mean, the so-called oceanic circles that Gandhi talked about, and the whole works. So this is some kind of a dharam polish kind of studies. And the other aspect, of course, is his important work in the area of Indian theoretical sciences, especially Indian astronomy and mathematics. So, as pointed out by others, so this was started, in this PPST movement around 1980 or so. I was also a part of it, and but I was not that active, I think, in the beginning, because I had to find a job and all that. MD already had a job, and he was the person who took to this study of this sciences and all that, in an extremely vigorous fashion, intense manner. That is the characteristic, to jump into. If you go to a subject, he will go to it with all his focus and energy and great amount of involvement. So, for instance, suppose there have been a lot of scholars who have been working in the area of Indian mathematics and astronomy, but he brought in some fresh perspectives. That is very important. See, for instance, the role of commentaries. What are these things, that are said? But it is also important to see what the commentary says, apart from the textbooks, which Indian text, which will give mostly the algorithms and the how to do calculations. So one has to do the commentaries and all that. So you are one of the first to emphasize this aspect. As I told, see, the studies on Indian astronomy and mathematics had been in the modern period, has gone on for 200 years. But I think he was specially suited for, regarding, because he had knew something about how the Western science operated, how, the Western scientific methodology and how it is different from Indian way of doing things. So he gave a lot of, fresh energy and perspective in the field, and of course he has resulted in many important works, some of which he done some work with him also in Indian astronomy and mathematics. And he is also very keen that people do things in a serious manner and go somewhat deep into it, and not be content with reading some one article and 2 books and then start babbling. To give you an example, we in 2019 or so we organized a instructional course on Indian sciences in our KV Sharma Foundation. 2019 November, December and all that. So a lot of good talks are there: astronomy, mathematics, Ayurveda, linguistics, and so on, methodology and logic, things like that. And about I think 70-80 people participated. The important thing is that he made it a point, that is true. People will come and people will listen to lectures, and sound waves will just die down, kind of a thing, and what will remain. So one has to give some definite solid kind of material for them, for the participants to read and reflect upon and things like that. So he already was very good in collecting huge amount of information and various important books and articles in any particular sciences. So many of the books on not only on Indian sciences but also on the background related Western sciences and all that. Lot of books and articles were collected in a pen drive, and those pen drives are distributed to among the people, so that if they want to have some reference, so they can immediately look at it and start working. I don't know how much people are doing that, but anyway, that is the kind of this thing, enthusiasm he has to spreading it and seeing to it that people will pursue it somewhat seriously. To lighten the atmosphere, let me give one or two episodes. After our BSc, we went to IIT Kanpur for interview in MSc, for admission to MSc. So myself and MD Srinivas. So that was the first time we were going to north. Of course, we had reached up to Delhi, Bombay earlier, but this was the first time we are crossing the Vindhyas kind of a thing. So in the station, many of MD's relatives came, oh, this bright young Mandam phenomenon is going north, so let me make his journey clear. So the journey also was interesting because those days, there are not many times from south to north, especially for Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Only GT was there and one Southern Express was there. And it was impossible to do the reservation. So what is the system of what is the towel reservation? So towel means even before the train comes, 1 hour or so before that, some people, who are touts, so they will be given the towel. So those they will go to the yard, before the train comes into the platform. So they will reserve this thing for you. Okay, what is where we got? So in the unreserved compartment, so there are these luggage racks. There are third class. Now there is no third class. Those days, first class, second class, third class for them. So in the third class, the luggage racks will be there. You see. So one part of these luggage racks was reserved for us. So we are extremely glad that we had this luggage rack. So this much width and this much width on the other side. And in between, there was, somebody had put a towel. There's a whole lot of Keralites who are going, they are attending some college in Gwalior on sports education. So in that, some persons were sleeping in that. So, and we were, of course, we had to manage in that luggage rack. And so one head this side, one head that side and things like that. So sometimes we went on like that, and Jhansi we had to get down. To go to Kanpur, we had to get down Jhansi. And there, we thought there will be a waiting room and all that kind of a thing, So we asked the person who was there, the waiting room. He said just, showed outside. So we went to outside, you see. There's nothing, there was just some hall kind of a thing. So various kinds of people are there. There were 2 horses and 2 cows with their outputs. And so it was very, we didn't know what to do, but fortunately, there was some tap, So it was in the morning. So we had to take the train to Kanpur around 7 o'clock or so. And so we were there at around 6 o'clock. So there was a tap, at the top, kind of a thing with the water can come from there. So that was there. So we could have a bath, okay. So this is the kind of a thing. And then of course the journey from Jhansi to Kanpur also was memorable. We could see that, train could stop wherever people wanted, if they want their village is coming, they will just, pull the chain, get on. So all these interesting things were there. Similarly, afterwards, of course, both of us were selected, but in fact, MD was joined also, both of us joined, but somehow MD felt uncomfortable. He came back and, he joined MSc in Central College only, and I continued in the IIT Kanpur. So like that, it's been a memorable journey, and I wish him all the best in his future years, many happy returns of the day, and I wish that, he will continue his all his scholarly work with full vigor and rigor, and it will be fruitful and also impactful, which it has been. So I hope it will be impactful in the future also. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle. I, of course, knew the story of having gone to Kanpur, got an admission, and then returned, similar to the IISc story, but I did not know the train story, so I learned something new today. Next, I'd like to call upon another scholar from a different domain who has also been associated with my father from his very young days. He also happens to be our relative, Dr. Shri N.A. Venkatakrishnan. I request him to please say a few words.
My pranam to everyone here, and I am extremely happy to be in your midst in this beautiful occasion of felicitating Dr. M.D. Srinivas on his 75th birthday today, as well as to felicitate him for his that is he getting Padma Shri award by the President of India. Dr. M.D. Srinivas is a distant cousin to me. That is, we both belong to a particular clan. That is, one great Acharya in Vaishnava Sampradaya, Anandaiva. He was the direct disciple of Ramanuja, and at the command of Ramanuja, Anandaiva went to Tirumala Hills and did Pushpa Kaikaryam. That is, he developed a garden, plucked flowers and made it a garland and offered it to Lord Venkateshwara. That was the command of Ramanuja to Anandaiva, and we both belong to the, we both are the descendants of that Anandaiva. And another close relationship is that we both belong to that. See, though Anandaiva's clans, the descendants are spread over throughout Tamil Nadu and other places. We belong to a particular place known as Mandayam, that is presently the Mandya district. So we are all called Mandai Mahingas. And a special feature is that he belongs to Doddamane family. Within Mandayam Anudan Balle, he belongs to Doddamane. Doddamane in Kannada means that it is a very big house. Doddamane. Probably his ancestors would have lived in Mandayam in a very big house. The Periya Viduna, and the meaning is they were important people. Vid Persar, that is not just building Persar, interestingly, my family is also called Doddamane illa Tamil Nadu irundha enga family. Adanaala Periyar Srinivasa enga peru enga taathavukku. So we are also Doddamane only. But in Tamil Nadu, Triplicane, there is one house, even now it is called as only Periya, for a big house. That was the house of our ancestors. But now it belongs to somebody else. That's why we control and the property. But originally we had that house only. Later on, my grandfather moved to the present house in which I am living now. So, in Tamil Nadu, one Periya family, our Kannada, Doddamane family. In the I should say that my association with Dr. M.D. Srinivas may be around 40-50 years. But my close association with him is not that old, because even though he lived in Triplicane, just about 10-15 houses, ஒரே ஸ்ட்ரீட்ல தான் இருந்தோம் நான் அவரும் சவுத் மாடல் ஸ்ட்ரீட்ல. ஆனா அப்பெல்லாம் எனக்கு அவரோட அவ்வளவு பழக்கம் கிடையவே கிடையாது. அவருடைய அம்மா அப்பாவெல்லாம் எனக்கு ரொம்ப க்ளோஸ், எங்க ஃபேமிலி மெம்பர்ஸுக்கு ரொம்ப க்ளோஸ். என்னுடைய பாஸ்டர் மதர், மை ஆண்ட் வாஸ் மை பாஸ்டர் மதர், அண்ட் மை ஆண்ட் அண்ட் ஹிஸ் மதர் வேர் வெரி க்ளோஸ் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ். அதனால அடிக்கடி அவ அம்மா எங்க ஆத்துக்கு வருவா, எங்க அக்கா வாத்துக்கு போவா. நான் நிறைய காலக்ஷேபங்கள்லாம், அதாவது lectures by various traditional scholars I was arranging in those days by Velapudi Vardacharya Swami and other people. அதுக்கெல்லாம் father regular வருவார். அதனால I had more association with his father than Dr. M.D. Srinivas in those days, though I was too young at that time. Probably எனக்கு அவருக்கு ஒரு 4-5 வயசு தான் வித்தியாசம். அப்படி இருந்தா கூட அவருடைய ஃபாதருடைய அசோசியேஷன் எனக்கு இருந்ததே தவிர ட்ரிப்ளிகேன்ல அவர் MDS இருக்கிற பொழுது எனக்கு அவரோட அவ்வளோ க்ளோஸ் அசோசியேஷன் இருக்கல. And after that, when I joined the Department of Vaishnavism in Madras University, he was already a staff in the University of Madras. ரெண்டு பேரும் ஒரே யூனிவர்சிட்டியில தான் ஒர்க் பண்ணோம் கொஞ்ச நாள். அது அன்பார்ச்சுனேட்லி I worked at the main campus in Chapel, whereas his theoretical physics department is located in Gindi. So we never had any chance to meet. But our association came to become very close only after we both joined together to run some organizations like that is Saraswati Bandaram Committee. Saraswati Bandaram Committee is managing the temple at Ayodhya, Ram temple at Ayodhya. And the management committee, in fact, adala kuda first na join panna appuram da MDS join pannar nenikiren. Adella engalude periyar othar S Prasad Iyengar, ரொம்ப energetic man. இப்ப அதான் நினைச்சுக்கிறேன். If Prasad Iyengar was alive, how happy he will be, I am not able to even imagine. அந்த அளவுக்கு MDS பேர்ல அந்த S Prasad Iyengarக்கு ஒரு கான்ஃபிடன்ஸ், ஒரு ரெஸ்பெக்ட், ஒரு இது எல்லாம் இவரிடத்துல தான் எதிர்பார்த்துட்டு இருந்தாரு. அந்த அளவுக்கு he treated him more than his son. S Prasad was treating MD Srinivas more than his son. அந்த அளவுக்கு இருந்தார். அவர் தான் எங்களை கொண்டு போய் அந்த சரஸ்வதி பண்டாரம் கமிட்டியில என்னையும் சரி அவரையும் சரி சேர்த்தார். அதுலேருந்து அது தவிர ட்ரிபிளிகேன்ல எதிகிரி எத்ராஜ் மட்டும் இருக்கு. அதனுடைய மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் கமிட்டியில we both are there, and now we both are in the MOP charities and MOP college also. அதுல எல்லாம் நாங்க மெம்பர்ஸா இருக்கிறோம். அதுல அவருடைய கைடன்ஸ் எங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கு. அப்கோர்ஸ் இப்ப அவருடைய ரிசர்ச் ஸ்காலர்ஷிப்பை பத்தி எல்லாம் இப்ப நம்ம ஷார்ட் பிலிம் எல்லாம் பார்த்தோம். எத்தனை ஃபீல்டில் அவர் இருக்காருனாக்கா அவர் வந்து நாலேஜ் சிஸ்டம் ட்ரெடிஷனல் இதில் சொல்றாரு. அவர் இஸ் டூயிங் ரிசர்ச் ஆன் ஆர்கிடெக்சர், அஸ்ட்ராலஜி, அஸ்ட்ரானமி எல்லாம் சொல்றார். எனக்கு ஒரே ஒரு ஃபீல்டு தான் தெரியும். நான் வந்து ஒரு பிலாசபி, அதுலேயும் ஸ்பெசிபிக்கலி அபவுட் விசிஷ்டாத்வைத பிலாசபி, அதில் ஐ ஹவ் டன் சம் ரிசர்ச். அவ்வளோதான், டு சம் எக்ஸ்டென்ட் ஐ ஹவ் டன். பட் அவர் வந்து மாஸ்டர் ஆஃப் ஆல் சப்ஜெக்ட்ஸ். அவர் அளவுக்கு எனக்கு கிடையாது. இருந்தாலும் இப்போ நாங்கள் எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து ஆர்கனைசேஷன்ல இருக்கிற பொழுது ஃபார் ஈச் அண்ட் எவ்ரி திங் வி சீக் ஒன்லி ஹிஸ் அட்வைஸ். ஹவு டு கோ அபவுட் திஸ், ஹவு டு டூ அபவுட் திஸ். அண்ட் ஈவன் நவ் வென் வி ஆர் செலிப்ரேட்டிங் just yesterday night at about 11 o'clock we returned from Ayodhya after celebrating Pavitrodsavam at Ayodhya, and both of this up there at Ayodhya, and we lived stayed there. பட் அதுல கூட எப்படியெல்லாம் அந்த உற்சவத்தை நடத்தணும், என்ன பண்ணணும்ன்றதுக்கெல்லாம் எங்களுக்கு வந்து கைடிங் போர்ஸா இருக்கிறவர் வந்து MD சீனிவாஸ் தான். ஈவன் when S Prasad was alive, ஏதாவது ஒரு விஷயத்தை அவர்கிட்ட நான் போய் சொன்னாக்கா, நீ MD சீனிவாசன் பேசினியா இதை பத்தி, அவர் என்ன சொன்னார், அவரை கேளுன்னு சொல்லுவாரு. அந்த அளவுக்கு டாக்டர் MD சீனிவாஸ் வாஸ் ஏபிள் டு, அதாவது எல்லாத்தையுமே கொஞ்சம் ஃபோர்ஸி பண்ணி இது எப்படி வரும், இன்னைக்கு நீ இந்த மாதிரி பண்ணினா இதுக்கு என்ன மாதிரி இது ரிசல்ட் வரும் அப்படின்னு பார்த்து திங்க் பண்ணி நமக்கு அட்வைஸ் பண்ணக்கூடிய ஒரு கெப்பாசிட்டி, ப்ராபபிலி பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் ஹிஸ் ரிசர்ச். இப்ப இவ்வளவு ரிசர்ச் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிற அப்படின்னால, இவ்வளவு பப்ளிகேஷன்ஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிற அப்படின்னால அவருக்கு அந்த மாதிரியான ஒரு ஆட்டிடியூட் இருக்குது. அதனால ஈவன் நவ் ஹி இஸ் கைடிங் அஸ் இன் ஆல் தி கமிட்டிஸ். அதுல எதெல்லாம் நாங்க இருக்கமோ அதுல வந்து எங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப ஹெல்ப் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கார். அதனால ஐ கன்சிடர் ஹிம் as my brother, friend, philosopher, guide, everything. அதனால if at all I am able to do something today in these committees, it is because of only Dr. MD Srinivas advice. Otherwise I could not even do that. அப்படி இருக்கிற MD Srinivas இப்ப அவருக்கு பத்மஸ்ரீன்ற அவார்டு வந்திருக்குதுன்னு சொன்ன உடனே ஒரு பக்கம் ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம், இன்னொரு பக்கம் ஒரு ஆச்சரியம். என்ன காரணம்னு கேட்டா, சாதாரணமா இந்த அவார்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து செலிபிரிட்டிஸுக்கு தான் கொடுக்குறான், வேற யாருக்கும். பிரபா சொன்னால கொஞ்ச நாள் முன்னாடி அஸ்வினுக்கு கிடைச்சதுனாக்கா தட் ஐ கேன் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் போய் அவருக்கு MD தாத்தான்னு பேரன் கேட்டான்னு சொன்னார், ஸ்ரீகர் கேட்டான்னு சொன்னார். காரணம் என்னன்னா, அந்த மாதிரியான செலிபிரிட்டிஸ் ஈஸிலி கெட்டிங் தட் அவார்ட். ஈவன் பீப்புள் ஆக்டிங் இன் சினிமா, சினிமாவில் நடிக்கிறவங்க என்ன பண்றான், ஆஃப்டர் ஆல் தேர் ஆக்டிங் அண்ட் கெட்டிங் மணி ஃபார் தட். இட் இஸ் தேர் ப்ரொஃபஷன், தட்ஸ் ஆல். இதனால சொசைட்டிக்கு என்ன லாபம் எனக்கு தெரியல. இருந்தா கூட அவங்களுக்கெல்லாம் மேல மேல அவார்டு கொடுத்துட்டே போறோம். பட் இந்த மாதிரி உண்மையான ரிசர்ச் ஸ்காலர்ஸ் இந்த மாதிரி பண்றவாளுக்கெல்லாம் அந்த மாதிரி கவர்மெண்ட் ரெக்கக்னைஸ் பண்ணி கொடுக்கறதுன்றது வெரி வெரி ரேர். A few years back, Dr. M.D. Srinivas told me that Dr. Bajaj was given Padma Shri award. At that time also I was thinking, Bajaj and don't mistake me. எத்தனை பேர் தெரியும் அவரை ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணி அவருக்கு ஒருத்தர் கொடுத்தாருனாக்க அப்ப என்ன ஆகுதுன்னா அந்த அவார்டுக்கு பெருமை ஏற்படுறது. நான் என்ன நினைக்கிறேன்னா இந்த மாதிரி பர்சன்ஸுக்கு மீதி பேருக்கு கொடுக்கிற போது அவார்டால பெருமை. பட் இந்த மாதிரி பர்சன்ஸை செலக்ட் பண்ணி ஒரு அவார்டு கொடுக்கிற போது அவார்ட் இஸ் ஆல்சோ கெட்டிங் எ ஹானர். பட் இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஸ்காலருக்கு கொடுத்ததுனால இனிமேல் இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய ரிசர்ச் பண்ணணும்னு எல்லாரையும் மோட்டிவேட் பண்ற மாதிரி இருக்கு. அப்படி அதுவும் ரெண்டாவது அவர் ரொம்ப பப்ளிக் இதுல வரவே மாட்டார் எம்டி சீனிவாஸ். இப்ப என்ன கூட ஒரு 10 பேருக்கு தெரியும். காரணம் என்னன்னா நாட் பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் ஸ்காலர்ஷிப் ஆர் எனிதிங் தட், பிகாஸ் ஐ எம் அப்பியரிங் இன் தி டிவி ஃபார் செவரல் ப்ரோக்ராம்ஸ் அண்ட் உபன்யாசங்கள்லாம் நிறைய பண்றேன்றதுனால பாப்புலரா இருக்கிறதுன்றது ஒரு பக்கம் இருக்கட்டும். அவருக்கு அந்த மாதிரி பாப்புலாரிட்டியே பிடிக்காது. ரொம்ப அவர் என்ன சொல்றதுன்னாக்கா பப்ளிக் ஷை. அது தவிர சாதாரணமா எங்கேயான வெளியில போனோம்னா கூட எஸ்பார் சாரதியுடைய ட்ரைனிங் நினைக்கிறாரு. அவர் எஸ்பார் சாரதி பஸ்ல தான் வருவார், கவர்மெண்ட் பஸ்ல தான் வருவார், இன்னும் ஆட்டோல கூட போக மாட்டார் அவர். அந்த மாதிரி டைப் அவர் எஸ்பார் சாரதி. அவருடைய கூட இருந்தபடினாலும் இவரும் அதே மாதிரி எங்க போனோம்னாலும் அதை பத்தி அவர் விசாரமே பட மாட்டார். ஈவன் சம்டைம்ஸ் இந்த மாதிரி கமிட்டி மீட்டிங்ஸ் நடத்தணும்ன்ற போது அவரை கேட்பேன், நாங்க வேணா உங்க சென்டருக்கு வந்துட்டோமா, உங்க ஆத்துக்கு வந்துட்டோமா, அந்த மீட்டிங் நடத்தலாமா? வேண்டாம், நீங்க சொல்ற டைமுக்கு நான் உங்க ஆத்துக்கு வந்துடுறேன். யூ வில் கம் டு அவர் ஹவுஸ் பை ஹிஸ் இந்த டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட் தான், பப்ளிக் டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட் தான். அந்த மாதிரி அந்த டைமுக்கு அட்டென்ட் பண்ணி இதெல்லாம் பண்ணி இந்த மாதிரி இவ்வளவு சிம்பிள் மேன், இப்படிப்பட்ட ஒருத்தரை நம்ம பார்க்கறது ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். அவருடைய ஸ்காலர்ஷிப் எல்லாம் இங்க பாக்குற பொழுது எனக்கே பிரமிப்பா இருக்கு. ஆனா இவ்வளவு இருந்தும் கூட அதை அன்அசியூமிங்கா இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு பர்சனை நம்ம பார்க்கறது வெரி வெரி ரேர். So now I think I am very proud to say that I am his relative. So with these words I conclude.
Thank you so much. I should probably mention that maybe even I have met Professor M.A.D. Mama and Dr. Bhuma Mami more often than my father would have during the South Mada Street Triplicane days. I have seen them from my childhood. Very happy that they are here with us today. Again, switching tracks to a completely different direction. Of course, after checking out Indian Institute of Science and IIT Kanpur, he finally decided that he shall go to the University of Rochester. And we have a very close friend from his Rochester days, who has again been in touch with us all through these years, Professor Kamlesh Kar. Can I request him to say a few words? And once again, yes, the food counter is open, so please help yourself and enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me a chance to talk today, particularly about MD. I will make this talk very short and only talk about the Rochester days. So I first met MD Srinivas in August 1973 when we finishing MSc from University of Delhi, myself and a close friend of mine called V. Sheshatri, two of us joined University of Rochester Department of Physics. And then we met him and realized that he had joined 1 year before us, and at that time was finishing his prelims and joining Professor Wolf. We all knew Professor Wolf because there is a famous book by Bond and Wolf which even in India we used to look at, and we are, very, very impressed that MD has joined Wolf for his PhD. Not only that, the apartment that we are assigned by the university, those are called graduate living centers. There are two high-rise buildings, and we stayed in one of them, which was 1050, if I remember the number correctly. And in the same floor of the same building, 1020, MD was staying with some friends who were doing PhD in economics. So that was the beginning. But very soon, we figured out, Prasad and myself figured out, that he is a great help in the sense that we are doing our coursework and we are given tough problems to solve at home. We would just come back, and the few problems that we are not able to do, we'll just take it to MD. MD either will immediately work it out, or I remember one incident clearly, that he says this problem is difficult, but in so-and-so's book, this is worked out in the middle chapter somewhere. So the next day we had to submit. So middle of the night, Shishati and myself went to the library, opened the library, got the book and found exactly what he had said. It was worked out. So we copied that. So it was a great help all the time the first year when MD was giving us his advice. Not only that, personally for me, I asked him that for PhD, whom should I join at that time? Then he gave a few suggestions. He said that if you want to do particle physics, Professor Okubo is very good, and nuclear physics, Professor French. Now Okubo I talked to, he was not taking students, and MD also said that French right now is doing some interesting work with random matrices, and actually I joined Professor French. So that was beginning of 73 onwards. Then I think around sometime in 75, Shishati, myself and MD Srinivas, all three of us shared one apartment together. So that was, and I think for 1 or 1.5 years we were there, and I could see him closely. And by that time, actually, he used to meet Wolf maybe every 2-3 weeks. And we used to wait for when he comes back, he used to tell some, because Wolf was a very famous man, he used to tell MD some personal stories and all that, and we would all listen to him after he comes back. And not only that, we also had sharing an old car, second-hand car, or maybe third-hand car, the three of us, because for moving around, and we, Niagara Falls, Cornell University, many places we went together. And one thing I again remember, when he was submitting his thesis, he has finished his work and Wolf had agreed, and then he started, I think his first work on foundation of quantum mechanics. He was actually doing, I was seeing from the other room, and if you have seen his writing, his lettering is very big. So he writes very fast on the white paper. So maybe every page there will be some 8-10 lines. And at that time, of course, we had to write by hand. And so this, he finished in a few days and he sent, and actually it got published, and he even showed me at that time some of the great experts, international experts of quantum mechanics, how positively they had reacted to it, and you're telling him to continue this work. But anyway, that was 1976, and the second half of that, I think sometime in September, he decided to come back to India, and so I think we all went to the airport to see him off, and that was the end of us. So we continued for some time. Finally, in the early 80s, when I came back and I used to come to Chennai, I saw him in the theoretical physics department, and again he gave me a lot of advice of whom to meet, what to do, and so on, which helped me a lot. And Anyway, and then the rest of it from 1976 onwards, you have heard what sort of things he did. But we stayed in touch as much as we could. And finally, I should end here saying an interesting thing is that the two of us were almost classmates, batchmates. And my wife and MD's wife, they are also classmates. And as it happens, our daughter and MD's younger daughter, Nitya, they were also batchmates. And this is, I very often think this is quite a coincidence. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Uncle. Thank you. Thanks to you and Auntie for being here. So we move on to the days of PPST, which Dr. Bajaj has already spoken about, and we have here Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala, who has been associated with the PPST from its inception. So may we request him to say a few words.
Thank you, Prabha, and congratulations, MD Srinivas. Congratulations. Thank you, Prabha, and congratulations, MD Srinivas. Lots of my friends are here. They know about our association. Since 1981, I have already, a lot has been spoken. I don't have too much to add. When I came back in 1981, I think within probably a week to 10 days, I met MD Srinivas. And he has been one of my closest friend, a mentor, a person who has stood by, guided us to some extent, and also to some extent help us bring the very best in ourselves. From people like Krishnan, MD Srinivas, Balu, Bajaj, Mukundan, Girija, many of them, and under the guidance of Dharmpalji, we learned a lot about India. I was a little lost. I had come back to India to try to make a change, to see that India becomes a very different India. But somewhere, by the time I came, I was a little lost of what to do. And what this group gave us a very, very different understanding of India and a very different understanding of Gandhiji. I was a follower of Gandhiji during my childhood, but somewhere I was kind of turned off. And I will sort of say that an MD has a lot, I give a lot of credit to MD, that it was a rediscovery of Gandhiji. And by 83, 84, if we came to the conclusion that if anybody in India had a solution of where India should go, it was Gandhiji. And I think since then, all the work that MD has done, others have done, has only reinforced that. And very, very happy that he was recognized for this thing that he has done in trying to reassert Gandhiji. The only regret after 45 years, we thought that we'll change India. I don't know whether we have changed India for better or worse. I certainly see much less respect for Gandhiji today than was there in 80s. So I think on that count, we have collectively failed. I won't say he, I, and all of us have collectively failed. We have put together that India will be very strong. In some areas it has done very well. But have we shown a new direction to India? I think not yet. And therefore my only thing that I will add, that I'm very happy that he has got recognized, but his task is still very incomplete. We all seem to be fairly old, but I think we still have time and energy. And I think whether it is Krishnan, MD, Mukundan, Girija, Bajaj, Balu, all of them will continue to work to try to see that in the rest of our life, we are able to get India to understand Gandhiji better. And that can only happen not by reading Gandhiji, by showing us, by seeing that India start traversing a very different path than it has been traversing over the last so many years. That's all that I can say. Thank you again, Prabha. Thank you, all of you, for organizing this. Very proud moment for us, but only telling us that your task is very incomplete. Thank you very much.
So I should mention, of course, that Professor Ashok was the forerunner of these Padma Shris. So the PPST seems to have spawned not one, not two, but 3 Padma Shri awardees. Professor Ashok himself is a Padma Shri awardee from the 2000s. I should mention that I was kind of sold to the idea of being an academic thanks to my father. And the way he painted this life of an academic was, so sometime in class 11, everyone is going for JEE coaching, right? And I asked him, he said, do you want to be an engineer? I said, no. And he said, why are you going for this JEE coaching then? Why do you want to? So I said, okay, then what should I do? Then he said, yeah, you can study physics or mathematics. And he said, being an academic gives you the freedom to pretty much do what you want. And I think he kind of oversold this concept a little bit. The reality is, of course, a bit different. But I think the way he was when he was at the Department of Theoretical Physics was probably a reflection of this idea of being able to do what he wants. And I'm curious to hear what his former head of the department, Professor Sitaraman, would say about it. But he is currently busy with his dinner, so I will call another old-time physics associate of my father, Professor M.D. Satyanarayana, to please say a few words. Professor M.D.S. has, of course, been my teacher and has embodied several of the virtues of being an academic in many ways. So I think it's very appropriate that he speaks.
Thank you, Prabha. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Namasabhayai. Part of my talk will be in Sanskrit, and there is a reason for it. I first came to know about Professor M.D. Srinivas when I was doing my MSc. I had just taken a course on stochastic processes, and I happened to see his article. Somebody showed me his article in that E.W. Montreal's Festschrift. That. So then I thought that I was able to understand. I felt that it would be nice if I can further continue, do my MSc project with him, and of course I didn't disclose to him all these days, and if possible further I can continue with him. There is also another reason, both the MD and Shriram, they were very much sort of mentored by Professor T.S. Shankara. Later he became Swami Paramananda Bharati, and I joined Swami Paramananda Bharati around 1978-79, and I understood this connection, and then I went to the Department of Theoretical Physics 2-3 times in 79-80. He was not around at that time, and so in those days if you have CSIR fellowship you can do PhD, join with any faculty member you like, and anyway later I went to Institute of Mathematical Sciences and I did my PhD there. Around 85-86 there was this knowledge representation conference organized in Sringeri by Swami Paramananda Bharati, and MD Srinivas, myself, Mahabala and several were very, KV Ramakrishnamacharya were very active in that, and then I got into this learning Navjanyaya. Just then, this Navalpakam Ramanuja Tattacharya's famous commentary on Tarka Sangraha, it runs to almost 1000 pages, voluminous, and this is Tarka Sangraha, Deepika, Prakashika was published. Copies were not available in Chennai for some reason. When I went to Delhi, I got a copy, and then both of us started reading together. In fact, the MD used to read and then tell me the meaning of it. I think already he had some training in this Tarka Sangraha with this Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, I think, and I'm not very sure about it. Anyway, that led me to meet very famous Nayayika Ranganatha Sharma and Vaiyakaranika, this N.T. Srinivasan Iyengar, and so both these people gave me a lot of time, and then I could do some work in it, and later also after that whenever I used to go to Bangalore, meet them, and then they gave time to clarify my doubts, and till Ranganatha Sharma became very old and Srinivas Iyengar passed away, and that was the connection. So as a mark of my gratitude and respect to MD, I will say a few sentences in Sanskrit, because that entrance into Tarka Sangraha gave me to appreciate how these Vyakhyanas were written, especially for Bhagavad Gita and our Shastras. I was very much impressed by the Vyakhyana styles. In fact, in my own physics teaching, I tried to incorporate the spirit of that Vyakhyana style. Some people liked it. To that extent, I have been successful at that. Aham Shri Srinivasa Mahodayam Bhaukala Janami Sambhavataha Panchashatvarimshat Varshani Kala Paryantam. Asmin Kale Aham Tesham Saha Karyam Kritavan, Tesham Saha Charcham Kritavan, Tesham Saha Navjanyayam Patitavan, Tata Tesham Mitram Abhavan. Ityadi. Sarvasmat Adhikam Aham Tam Mama Gurum Manye. And so he is my teacher first, and later friend, and many things. And now I will switch over to one concept. When I think of MD Srinivas, for many of us, what we will think about him is, at least I think him as a Pandita. Who is a Pandita? There are several definitions of Pandita. So one from Mahabharata I will take. I will read that verse. Dambam nodvahate. Dambam nohadvate. Na nindate paran. No bhashate nishturan. No proktam kenachid apriyam cha. Sahati krodam cha na alambate. Jnatva shastramapi prabhuta manisham santishtate mukavat. Jnatva shastramapi prabhuta manisham santishtate mukavat. Doshams chadayate gunan vitanute chaste gunaha pandite. So 8 qualities have been mentioned in this particular verse in Mahabharata for a Pandita. There are other definitions, Pandita Samadarshana in Bhagavad Gita. I am not going over there. Dambam nodvahate. What is that? So in this 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it says, Anamitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Shanti Rajyavam, like that 20 qualities have been specified for a mumukshu. One of them is, he is that Adambitvam. Dhammam is Atmaslagam. That means you praise yourself. You say that I have done this, I have done that. Even you may say it with an enhanced form. So Atmaslaga Rakityam is Adambitvam. Dambam nodvahate. Na nindate paran. I have not seen during all the years of association, MD can criticize, but Nindanam I have not heard. Na bhashate nishturan. That is another thing. So you don't talk in a very, I don't know, nishtura means very harsh words about others. But he is very critical minded in analyzing things. Na proktam kenachid apriyam. He won't say things which are unpleasant to others. Sahate krodam chana lambate. Rarely I have seen him getting angry on anybody, and on a couple of occasions he had showed his anger, but then immediately he will come down. That's a very great quality of MD. This next one is very important. Jnatva shastramaiva prabhuta manisham. This person has learned so many things, knows so much. Santishtate mukavate. So he will remain silent. He will not show that he knows so much. That is one of the important qualities of Pandita. Doshams chadayate. So the mistakes of at least his group and others and chadayate, that means that he will not amplify them, he will keep quiet. And so these are the 8 qualities of a Pandita. So it is left to all of us to what extent MD will qualify himself to be a Pandita. I hope you will all agree. So my respects to MD as a guru and as a friend. And thank you, Prabha. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor MVS. And I did not know that you had this fluency in Sanskrit. Very nice to see this, a new facet of Professor MVS for me. I now request Professor K.V. Varadarajan, who is also a founder trustee of the Center for Policy Studies, to say a few words.
My pranams. Many of you here have much longer association with MD Srinivas. I was more keen to listen to all of them. I will say just one thing and I stop that. Years back, I think it was 1996, there was a conference on Tamil, World Conference on Tamil at Tanjavur. MD presented a paper there. At that time, many Japanese professors also had come to attend the conference. One such professor, he came to our center, I don't remember his name, and he was looking at the paper presented by MD Srinivas, and there was a table in the last page of that paper, and he was looking at it very closely for about 10 minutes. Then he told MD Srinivas to compose this table. You should have taken 5 years. MD just smiled at it and then kept quiet. After this professor has left, I asked MD whether it was true. He said yes. I don't have patience for data and I cannot work like this. So what I lack in myself, when I see it in MD, naturally I tend to admire. Thank you very much.
We have many of the PPST fellows, as they used to be called here. Can I request Dr. Girija to say a few words? So she is responsible for my father being a co-author on a book on Indian systems of medicine, and particularly Ayurveda, which is rather unique. You may wonder if he really knows anything about the subject, but whatever he knows is thanks to Dr. Girija. So please, if you can say a few words.
Congratulations, MD. All of us know MD for several decades, so there is nothing new that I'm going to say. But as somebody pointed out, there are a lot of bright people we know, but we can't call all of them scholars. MD truly is a scholar and also a kind of an all-rounder. For example, just a few days ago, I heard him speak in chaste, grammatically correct Tamil on the technical details of Chengalpattu data. Then I told Mukundan, Vijay Lakshmi has tutored him well. The other thing about MD is, a friend of mine from Delhi University, who's a sociologist professor, wanted to meet MD and went to Center for Policy Studies. There he met MD Srinivas and J.K. Bajaj. Spent a few hours with them, and then when he came back, I asked him, how was the meeting? He said, look here, I am supposed to be the sociologist, but MD Srinivas and Bajaj seem to know more sociology than me. So, all this is fine. When Mukundan and I often talk about somebody as very, very bright, at the end of the conversation we will say, but not like MD. This happened even 2 days ago when Mukundan lost a dear friend, his classmate who was IIT gold medalist. Mukundan would always say he is very, very bright. Then he paused for a while and he said, but not like MD. So, we are so used to this. But if you ask me one quality or attribute that is very enviable about MD is his simplicity. And while I was coming, my driver asked me, where are you going? And I explained to him. Then he said, Amma, நான் கேள்விப்பட்டேன் பட் ஆனால் அவர் ரொம்ப இயற்கையாக ஒரு சிம்பிளான ஆள். So I thought that is the greatest compliment you can have, MD, that my driver saying that. I went to listen to him the other day at IIT Madras, and then he came to me and said, why did you come? I would have come and presented this to you in your place. Now I know MD is serious. If I call MD, he doesn't care. He needs a great audience. He is prepared to spend his time explaining everything. At the end of the meeting, night I came back and asked Mukundan one question about mathematics. Well, you may ask, what have I got to do with mathematics? But that is a different point. So Mukundan said, I can't answer this, only MD can answer this. 9:30 in the night I called MD. Half an hour he tries to explain to me the question I asked about mathematics. I mean, he has time for everybody. He is the most accessible scholar I have seen. For instance, when I wrote the first book, Jeevani for Women, I wanted somebody to read it and I thought MD should read it before I sent to the press. You will not believe he not only found time to read, he proofread it 4 times. Comma, full stop. I mean, he has time and he is accessible. Now, I think I will say that the award has come a little late for MD, but it doesn't matter. Everybody knows MD. And I hope he will have many more fruitful years. Thank you, Ma. Bye.
Thank you. We have a few of my colleagues from the Department of Physics at IIT Madras, and thank you all for being here. Can I request Professor Arul Lakshminarayan, former head of the department, to be a spokesperson for our physics gang and say a few words?
Hi, Prabha. You've given me a tall task, but congratulations, first of all, Professor MD Srinivas, for both happy birthday and this rare honor of being a Padma Shri awardee. I'm not sure about being a representative of the department, but let me just, as a personal thing, let me say that I was a student in IIT Madras from 84 to 88, and several of my friends were personally influenced by PPST and several of its members. So I have heard of the name MD Srinivas before I met him long ago. I mean, I had heard of him long ago, along with people like Dharampal, who influenced a lot of my friends very deeply. And I am seeing these books here. I'm amazed at the range of books, and I'm really ashamed that I wasn't aware of this over of work of Professor Srinivas. As a physicist, but maybe I should first say that when I first contacted him to say, wish him on his award, his reaction was, our friend Gadiyar would have been very excited by this. This was the reaction, and I think it kind of exemplifies, I was actually quite taken aback by this. Our friend Gadiyar had recently passed away, and but I think it spoke of a sense of self or non-self, which people have been talking about as simplicity. And more recently, well, I should say that I actually met him and spoke to him really when Prabha became my colleague. And he asked me, how is Prabha fitting into your group? I said, Prabha is the group. So and she remains one of the most, she has developed a major group in IIT Madras. But the quantum mechanics of Professor Srinivas, I know I've been hearing Western science, Indian science. I think all he did was Indian science. And I recently came across it when I was working on my problems and trying to understand entropy in quantum chaos. I was led to papers in a series, and I ended up with his paper. And it was really hard to read. I should go and make use of the availability of Professor Srinivas to understand these papers. It was a really sophisticated paper using C-star algebras and so on from his early days. And I know that I know that his energies went into other directions, but certainly his whatever energy that he put into physics, I think it is yet to be fully formed. I think the kind of interest in current physics on quantum chaos and so on, the discoveries of Professor Srinivas are yet to be fully appreciated in this. But I think it's a really very nice work. I congratulate Professor Srinivas on this various other aspects, and thank you, sir.
I know we are running late, so maybe we'll make a quick segue to the family segment. So many people have mentioned the true partner in crime really. That is our mother, Mrs. R. Vijayalakshmi. So I think that the fact that he was able to do many different things in many fields was entirely made possible only because of the unique personality and the way our mother really stood rock solid at home while he was venturing into many different areas. So the word that comes to me often when I think of this unique partnership is from a shloka in Ramayana where the word Sahadharmachari is used, meaning someone who travels with you in this path of dharma. And I think she truly believed in his vision, his philosophy, and the many things that he wished to do. So in a true sense, to me, this partnership seems to symbolize this Sahadharmachari aspect. So can I now request our mother, Mrs. R. Vijayalakshmi, to deliver probably her first ever public address.
Good evening, everyone. I have never spoken in a gathering, and this is the first time, so please kindly excuse me if I make wrong. Okay. So just now, in a lighter vein, first I will say a few things. Just now, Prabha told that I took all the responsibility of the household. Actually, I am grateful to my husband that he did not interfere in my bringing up children or the running of the household. I had all the independence, full 100% independence. Okay. And another incident, in a lighter vein again. Everybody knows, particularly all his friends know, all the exams that he has passed, the interviews he cleared. Most of you won't know that he cleared on a very important, crucial test in his life. That was what my grandfather gave the test, my father's father. First time he came to my house. That was before marriage. And he was talking to my husband, like MD. Then during the conversation, my grandfather came to know that MD had read Sanskrit. So immediately, my grandfather, a very pious man, he used to read Ramayana every day. He brought out a book of Valmiki Ramayana, selected one page and said, read this. And MD was able to clear the test and my grandfather was floored. So this was... And another one, my mother's mother, grandmother, she was very fond of music. So when my grandmother met MD, she asked him to sing a song. She is from Madurai and he chose the song Meenakshi Memudam in Purvi Kalyani. And my grandmother was floored. So, all this is in a lighter vein. Okay, now coming to today's topic. I have written my thoughts down because I am not used to speaking extempo. Okay. Uh, I'm glad that the work of PPST, Patriotic and People-Oriented Science and Technology, and CPS, Center for Policy Studies, and other similar institutions has been recognized. Dr. Bajaj and Dr. M.D. Srinivas have been awarded Padma Shri. Now, and with all celebrations throughout the year. So now this question comes to me. Have we reached the goal post? Or is it just the beginning? The spade work has just begun. Lot more has to be done. The roots of our dharma are, of course, deep and very strong. And it is an eternal dharma for the universe. My request to the next generation assembled here and others who are watching this event is to take a dip into our tradition, read the books exhibited here and relevant material, and take this work forward. I thank you all for attending this function and making it a success. This celebration has been made possible by our adorable daughters, Prabha and Nitya, and our son-in-law, Krishna. With all your good wishes and God willing, I hope to meet you all in many such occasions in future. Thank you.
So, Amma herself is of course an MSc and MPhil in physics. She was a teacher. Of course, she was our primary teacher, Nitya and myself. I invite her to come here to be honored for all her support, unstinting support, and standing by for being the pillar of the family. A small anecdote as they are clicking the pictures. So sometime in the early 90s, when my father actually decided to take voluntary retirement from the Department of Theoretical Physics, as I think back to those days, we were a family of 5, 2 daughters, my parents and my grandmother who was with us, his mother. And he had a handsome government salary, which he could have continued on for at least another decade, if not more. But then at that point, he decides to up and quit and start a new organization, of course, him and Dr. Bajaj. And I mean, that someone would do this is slightly crazy enough, but that someone would be supportive enough to support him through this, I find that equally amazing. So hats off to you for literally letting the Center for Policy Studies happen in many ways. So I would like to request someone from my husband's family. We have with us Shri Manivannan, who's like an elder brother to Krishna and myself, and he's of course known my father now for over 2 decades, so I request him to say so.
Thank you. I'm currently in North Carolina, in United States. The surprise was I planned to come here for a short visit for a week, and I got the message from Prabhaji telling there is an event like this. What a wonderful coincidence that அதாவது பழ நழுவி பால்ல விழுந்ததுங்கிற மாதிரி I am honored to be here, not to talk. I don't think I have any kind of a qualification to talk about MD Srinivas Ji, but I will tell you a couple of things people may not know. Especially when you go to US, you start realizing you are an Indian. On top of it, you start recognizing that how great India was or is. So, as part of a temple culture and part of the board, I started doing some work on the calendar system to help the temple. So without knowing who the author is, one of the good astronomical works I purchased was the Ganita Yukti Bhasha. I did not know that he was the author. So I got the book. I had it for many years, actually, for at least a couple of years, till one of my uncle, Aprameyan's dad, he sent me one article. And in that article, your name came up as exactly the same name in the book. Then I realized he's the author of the book. So it is phenomenal that your name comes up. Sometimes I forget that who you are. You are a physicist, because I know you as the dad of Prabha, and I was astonished actually that how deep your scholarship is. I learned from, Sanskrit scholars, linguists, and others. Not that I'm proficient in the language, but Dr. Kannan, who is Navalpakam Yajnavaraha Swami, from him, some of the things. He had given a huge lecture in mathematics on YouTube. Now what I learned is, first time ever that I learned that there is a Kerala school, which I had completely missed. So why I'm telling all these things is, how I come to know you is not by him telling me or his even family telling me what accomplishments he has made, but me trying to get the value out of a lot of work he has done. So recently in US, we set up a small community, a small, let's say a committee to support Indian knowledge system. Guess whose name came first? So these are professors from IIT who are there, with whom we are working to give some momentum to the historical knowledge from India. So I think I'm astonished every time I meet somebody who is scholarly out of India. They refer back to our own beloved MD Srinivas ji. And I thought, okay, he's more into academics. But I saw him all of a sudden singing a song in Ayodhya, Amanji Mandir, on the prompt of M.A. Venkatakrishnan Swami. I do not know whether he's still there. So it is astonishing how he excels in the field of physics, culture, musicology, and whatever else you want to see. Of course, I knew some of the breadth of his works, but I didn't know surely, his breadth is so far. But I'm thinking maybe I need to get him to talk in US. Hopefully he will accept such an invitation soon. We will see, he will be an inspiration for generations to come. I think the biggest accomplishments is the daughters and the son-in-law, that he has a legacy behind, and that is what one can aim for. Thank you, Prabhaji and Nitya, for organizing this wonderful event and taking care of the roots of India and your family. Thank you.
Thank you. It will indeed be an achievement if you manage to get him to get to the US, because I don't think he has set foot there again after his return in 1976. So it will be quite an achievement. Some of you want to give some gifts and so on. I request you to please come forward. So this is Mrs. Katyayani and family, and all the people who are responsible for the day-to-day running of the Center for Policy Studies. As you'd have heard from my mother's talk, administration is not my father's strong forte. So without this support system, Center for Policy Studies here would not be functioning very well on a day-to-day basis. I have colleagues, Professor Rajesh and Sajana. Thank you so much for coming. We have a video from one of, again, his old-time associates from National High School, Bangalore, who has sent us a video message. So while we have people giving him gifts, we'll play the video simultaneously.
Vanakkam, I'm Nagaraj, one of the closest friends of MD, wanting to greet him on his landmark 75th birthday of Padma Shri Dr. MD Srinivas. I am addressing this mainly to his beautiful daughters, Vedaprabha and Nitya, whom I have seen from their childhood. My relationship and friendship with MD has been extraordinarily special and unique in the sense that looking at MD's virtues and his values, I have nothing much in common. He is a deep scientist, a social scientist, and a very well-known theoretical physicist. I have nothing to do with any of those things. But our friendship, we started in National High School way back in 1964, has endured all these years consistently without any hiccups whatsoever. I have known his parents and he has known my parents. I have known his family and he knows our family. And one of the things that I always find in MD's friendship is that he's consistent. And he is humble, he is very scholarly, he is very unassuming, and the greatest virtue I have observed in him is that he has absolutely no pretensions and he is not here to impress anybody on anything. He is seriously focused on his research and seriously concerned about our country and our great heritage, and that makes MD a real special friend of mine. I wish MD all the best for future years, and I do hope that MD's life here onwards will take another turn and he will catapult to greater fame that the country and the world will come to know in the years ahead. Having been in America, I can't help not thinking of Bob Hope, who once said that as you grow old, there are more candles than a cake on your birthday. And with this note, I greet every one of you and I congratulate Vedaprabha and Nitya Shri for so thoughtfully thinking of celebrating this birthday, which I greatly miss since I am here in Chicago. But I'll be thinking of him all the time on his birthday. Thank you so much. Jai Ganesha. Hello, Vedaprabha and Nitya Shri. I'm here with my family. Every one of them are waiting to greet MD, starting with my son Shishir. Happy birthday, MD uncle. Hello. Happy birthday. And I come to the youngest generation, Vedant Bharadwaj. He said happy birthday. Happy birthday. And now my daughter-in-law,
Happy birthday.
Sanjana, and my wife, Bharti, whom MD knows well, very well.
ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ ಬರ್ಡೇ ಎಮ್ ಡಿ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಮತ್ತು ಸಂತೋಷ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಿಗಲಿ. ನೀವು ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಆಪ್ತ ಮಿತ್ರರು ಮತ್ತು ಹಿತೈಷಿಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಶುದ್ಧ ಅಂತಃಕರಣದ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರು. ನಿಮಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಶುಭವಾಗಲಿ, ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಾಗಲಿ. 75ನೇ ವರ್ಷದ ಹಾರ್ದಿಕ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳು.
Happy birthday, MD. Happy birthday to
प्रैक्टिस करना. हाँ
ಮೊದಲು ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ
ಆಳು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಚೊಲ್ಲಿಕೊಡು. So my father is requesting some music in the proceedings. I think that video was a cue to that. So can I request some of our friends, musical friends, to entertain us a little bit with some songs? Yeah.
पति की मंगल हारती रे बमलार नेडू साकेत पति की मंगल हारती
Next we have Srimai Arjun.
कञ्चदलायदाक्षी कञ्चदलायदाक्षी कामाक्षी कञ्चदलायदाक्षी कामाक्षी कञ्चदलायदाक्षी कामाक्षी कमला मनोहरि त्रिपुरा सुन्दरी कञ्चदलायदाक्षी कामाक्षी कमला मनोहरि त्रिपुरा सुन्दरी कञ्चदलायदाक्षी कामाक्षी कुञ्जरगमने मणिमण्डितमञ्जुलचरणे कुञ्जरगमने मणिमण्डितमञ्जुलचरणे मामव शिव पञ्जरशुकि पङ्कजमुखि गुरुगु रञ्जनि दुरितभञ्जनि निरञ्जनि कञ्चदलायदाक्षी कुञ्जरगमने मणिमण्डितमञ्जुलचरणे मामव शिव पञ्जरशुकि पङ्कजमुखि गुरुगुहरञ्जनि धुरभञ्जनि निरञ्जनि कञ्चदलायदाक्षी कामाक्षी कमला मनोहरि त्रिपुरा सुन्दरी कञ्चदलायदाक्षी कामाक्षी राकाशशिवदने राकाशशिवदने सूरदने रक्षितमदने रत्नसदने राकाशशिवदने सूरदने रक्षितमदने रत्नसदने श्रीकाञ्ची निवसने सुरसने शृङ्गाराश्रयमन्दहसने श्रीकाञ्ची निवसने सुरसने शृङ्गाराश्रयमन्दहसने एकानेकक्षरि भुवनेश्वरि एकानन्दमृतहरिवाश्वरि एकागमनोलयकरि श्रीकरि एकाम्रेश गृहेश्वरि शङ्कर एकानेकक्षरि भुवनेश्वरि एकानन्दमृतहरिवाश्वरि एकागमनोलयकरि श्रीकरि एकाम्रेश गृहेश्वरि शङ्करि सा सनि द प म ग म प नि द प म ग सा सनि द प नि स स ग म प नि सा सनि स ग म ग सनि द प नि सा सनि द प म ग सनि स ग म प नि कञ्चदलायदाक्षी कामाक्षी कमला मनोहरि त्रिपुरा सुन्दरी कञ्चदलायदाक्षी कामाक्षी
we have the third of the three musketeers, Miss Medini Janaki Raman. Next.
जन्ममुन पात्र हे जन्ममुन पात्र मेरी गिदानंबिक हे जन्ममुन पात्र मेरी गिदानंबिक పూజించమరచీవి పులనాడు కొన్నేల పూజించమరచీవి పులనాడు కొన్నేల నా మనసున ప్రేమ నన్నలయ చేసిన నా మనసున ప్రేమ నన్నలయ చేసిన రాజిల్లు శ్రీ కాగా రాజిల్లు శ్రీ త్యాగ नामी वल्लभु न दोषमेमि राजिल्लु श्री त्याग राजनुत चरणामि वल्लभु न दोषमेमि श्रीराम